Alright, it says I should be live now. The good news is rebooting did fix the problem. I tried pulling the plug on it earlier, and it didn't help me. I think the driver just crashed, so... that's not announcements, that's assignments. So, give me a second to just post an announcement really quickly. So, stream is back up. You can access the stream again by going back to my YouTube page. All right, so hopefully everybody who is sitting there staring at a blank screen is... Holy crap, that's a lot of 140s. I didn't just send this to the wrong... They put all my fall quarter classes in, and I was like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting to be there. That's the wrong thing. Streams back up. Okay. Okay, so now that it's working again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm actually frankly surprised that this is the first time that everything has fallen apart. So for a 10-week class, getting to week 9 before having like a major technical snafu that required me to take down the stream and completely redo it, that's not a bad deal. All right. Hopefully people were working on this during the break. I want to give a second so that people can get back in here. I am hoping that they do that. And y'all can hear me, right? I'm not muted or something stupid. No, it looks like I'm not. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to give a second for people to come in. I don't remember how many people were in the stream to begin with. It says I have 7 right now. And I think some people are just kind of like, huh? What's going on? Crap. And now I have 10. So yeah, it's starting to pick back up. Okay. And I have 15 minutes anyway, and this is the last problem. So I don't mind waiting like 5 minutes before we go over the answer. But yeah, if you are... Yeah, I apologize for that. I did not expect that there would be tablet issues. I thought my pen had died. So I got this pen off Amazon, and some people said, oh, these pens are really crappy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I had one. That's fine. All that matters is it works. I thought maybe it died. I actually don't know how this works other than like black magic and voodoo. And like maybe like fairy dust and angel wings or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous, this pen. It looks like it's a piece of plastic and nothing else. So that was my first suspicion. I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to get another pen. Then I thought maybe the tablet had died. But no, it was still receiving input. Then when I tried to do something, it actually warned me, like, hey, the driver crashed. Please reboot the computer. And I was like, well, I was going to do that anyway, so that was why I had to take the stream down. It looks like I have 12 or so people in here. 13 now, okay. I'm going to do this problem at, I'm looking at my clock, 2:45. Because I don't want people to just miss this and then have to go back and look at it. Let me set this up. Oh, it's already set up. Okay, so that's fine. My computer isn't terrible, thankfully. So, like, the real reason that it took that long to get the stream back up was because I had to bookmark all my tabs. Like, I have a work folder that is just like, here are all the tabs that I have opened, and I'm notorious for having like 7,000 tabs open. I'm that kind of person. I just don't close anything. All right, that looks better. So let's draw the Lewis structures. And so again, remember the most important thing that you can do when you draw the Lewis structure here is you got to draw it correctly. I don't actually know what the structures are. There you go. I couldn't see where it said PCl3, so I was like, what am I drawing? So it's really important for these that you draw them as close as you can to the original geometry. Now, if you're off by a little bit, like if you drew 108 degrees instead of 109.5, that's fine. But if you did like a 70-degree angle instead of a 90-degree angle, then you might get weird results. So what we need to do here is we need to figure out what's more electronegative, P or Cl. I know chlorine has an electronegativity of 3. I don't know what phosphorus is. I'm going to guess like 2.5. In any case, it's less electronegative. So our arrows are going to end up looking like this. So we got this guy, this guy, and this guy. And you know what I should have done? I should have put these on a new layer so I could copy and paste them and see what happens here. But anyway, the end result is that I'm going to have something like this. So I'm going to take this first one. I'm going to call this arrow number 1. This is number 2, and this is number 3. And you can actually do these in any order you want to, because addition doesn't care if you add 1 plus 3 plus 4 or 4 plus 1 plus 3. You still get 8 at the end of the day. So no matter how you add these, you'll end up in the same spot. So if this is number 1, and this is number 2, and this is number 3, my overall result will be like this, which is actually really close to what it should be. So what we would say is that PCl3 is polar, and the overall polarity should be on this end. So let me get a different color here for that. Let's get a darker purple. Here's the overall polarity, like this. So the negative side would be the bottom of my little pyramid with all my chlorines, and the positive side would be the phosphorus. Oops. All right, let's do CS2. I want to get this color back, though. CS2 is very similar to CO2. However, the electronegativity difference between these is essentially 0. So it must be nonpolar if there's no difference. I'm going to just assume that this is the direction that they point. And I could be totally wrong. But if you draw them on top of each other, what you end up getting is that if this is my starting point, you end up back at the origin. This is nonpolar. All right. How do we feel about these so far? Feeling a little better about them? Oh, I got to write the formula here. So I don't know if the electronegativity is the same. Are C and S both 2.5? Okay, so I didn't know if they were within 0.1 of each other. If they have the same electronegativity, we won't draw anything at all. I don't have the chart handy. I'm trying to do this from memory. For CC in the middle here, it's the same bond, so that's definitely going to be no polarity in the middle here. But for C and Cl, chlorine is more electronegative than carbon, and chlorine is more electronegative than carbon, so I'll draw these. And I've drawn the Lewis structure this way because around each atom, so this is how the Lewis structure looks, around each atom are only 2 groups, so this must be linear. And if this is linear also, the whole thing must be linear in a straight line. So you can see how we're starting to build upon everything we've done in this chapter to 1, draw Lewis structure properly. 2, you got to be able to figure out what the geometry is based on how many electron groups you did. And then 3, now we got to put the polarity on top of it. Since I know that these are all linear, these are going to point exactly apart from each other. So if I start right here, and I go this way, the next one comes straight back. And so this one must be nonpolar as well. For CH3Cl, we'll draw its Lewis structure. You can put the Cl wherever you want to. I'm going to put it on the top. That looks pretty good for my tetrahedron here. C and H are essentially nonpolar, so you could draw arrows pointing towards the carbon, or you could call them nonpolar. Either one is fine. But what's important here is that Cl is more electronegative than C by a large margin. And so the only real result that you get is this. So CH3Cl is polar. I'm counting electrons in my head. Okay, so 8, 16, 24, 32, 34. There we go. So there's the Lewis structure for SCl4. Cl is more electronegative than sulfur, so I'm going to point all of these away. And then I'm just going to do my vector addition, so I'm going to have an up one and then a down one. There's my starting point. So these just cancel each other out. But the other two don't. So the overall will be this. Which means that if I were to draw the overall polarity on this molecule, it would look something like that. That wasn't a very dark purple. I apologize if anybody out there is colorblind, and we'll just draw it like this. That's more obvious. There's the overall polarity. And then finally, IF5. I kind of ran out of space here, didn't I? I just work up here. Oh, that's not what I want. Is that a triple bond between C and C? Yes, it is. Down here on, right here, C2Cl2. It is a triple bond. I didn't toggle, like, the wrong option, did I? Is there, like, crazy latency? No, it's set up correctly. Okay. I might just have missed your question. I apologize. Let's look at IF5. Oh, I'm behind the thing. That's why you can't see it. There we go. So I, F, 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 F. And again, I'm just drawing the Lewis structures out of memory, so I'm doing them really quickly. F is more electronegative than I is, so that means my arrows point away. And you can probably tell that, oh, these are all 90 degrees apart, so this guy's going to get canceled out by this guy. And this guy is going to get canceled out by this guy, which leaves only this one. So the overall polarity must be this. How's it a triple bond to 2 other bonds to Cl on each side? There should only be a single bond on each side. So I have my triple bond and then a single bond on the left and then a single bond on the right on the other carbon. Cool, okay. We'll go back up to IF5 here. There you go. So the trick with polarity is that if you don't want to sum all your arrows together, you could look for patterns. Things that point directly opposite of each other will always cancel. So anything 180 degrees apart will always cancel out. No problem, you got it. Polarity is one of those weird things where it's like, ugh, I don't understand how to calculate all these arrows. And then you do 70,000 of these problems, and it's not so bad. The real trick is you got to get your Lewis structures down. So if you are drawing your Lewis structures and it's taking you like 5 minutes to draw it, that's going to eat up all your time. Determining the shape is not difficult. Drawing the Lewis structure is the most technical part of this exercise. Determining the shape is just, I look it up in a table. Which entry is it of this family or whatever? And then polarity is an algorithm. You just draw electronegativity arrows. But putting it all together is a lot of steps, and you have to do all the steps in order, and you can't mess up any of them. So that's a big challenge. And really, the best way that I would advertise to get through that is to just do as many of these as you can. So you've seen all the answers now. So what you can do is maybe like tonight, after you've forgotten what the answers are, do all of these problems again. Then you could just review the video to see if you get the same result that I do. Remember that your orientation is relative to your structure. So if you drew, say, IF5 where the electron pair was on the bottom, the polarity arrow would point up because it's pointing away from the electron pair. And when I grade these in person, that's what I look for. I look for relative answers because you could point it in any direction you want to. It just has to be pointed along that one fluorine that doesn't have a partner on the other side of it. Online, I'm going to have to just ask you polar or non-polar, and you can say yes or no. And that's really the best that I can do in this medium. But other than that, that's chapter 4. We're not going to do intermolecular forces because I have permission from Valerie to skip it. Which means that on Tuesday, we're going to do all of chapter 5, and that's fine because chapter 5 is 20 slides. For some reason, chapter 5 is like the shortest chapter in the book. And we don't cover molecular orbital theory in this class just because, I like molecular orbital theory. I think it's great. But we don't really use it at this college. If you go into third-year chemistry, they'll review it. If you go into organic chemistry, they'll review it. And yeah, so we're almost done. We just have to do hybridization and valence bond theory, and that's it. So good job for making it this far. Thanks for sticking around. I apologize for having to take the stream down. I'm glad that it was able to keep working because I was going to be like, well, what do I do for tonight's lecture? I'm going to put the title card back up. Remember that exam number 2 is very soon. Exam number 2 is on Monday. That's why it's blinking at you. Make sure that you are prepared. The exam will cover chapters 3.3 or so, all the way through chapter 4, the entirety of chapter 4, which is a lot of content, so there are lots of questions that I can ask you. Have a wonderful weekend. Make sure that you are sending me email if you have questions. I will be around to answer them. And yeah, study hard. Good luck. We're all counting on you. See you next week.